Hey friend, in today's watercolor tutorial, I'm going to be teaching how to paint this landscape capturing the spooky season with a full moon during October. Without further ado, let's get painting. For today's tutorial, I'll be using Antwerp Blue, Purple, Naples Yellow, Black, Davies Gray, and Payne's Gray by Winsor Newton. The paper I've taped down here is a size 5 by 7 inches. I'll also be using a little bit of white gouache for some stars and any highlights if necessary for the moon. I'm also going to be marking off our moon shape using some Winsor Newton art masking fluid that'll just make the whole process a little bit more seamless. To apply the masking fluid, I have just a cheap craft grade brush that I don't mind using for this, but then tossing after use. And then I have a size 2, size 6, and size 16 round Princeton brush that I'll be painting with. First thing I'm going to do is use our masking fluid. And for this, I'm just going to paint a good sized circle mimicking our full moon using my craft grade brush. And I want it to be slightly off centered. So I'll just go ahead and outline the shape of it, and we're going for, I would say, about a little over 1¼ inch or so for the size of the moon. We want it to be nice and full. I'm just taking my time to paint the edges. Okay, so once you have your circle, we can just go ahead and allow that to set and dry for, I usually like to let it set and dry around a ½ hour to 40 minutes, just depending on how long it takes or how hot it is even outside. That can affect the drying time. So we'll be back once this is set and move on to the next stage. Now that the moon is dry, I want to take some water and just do a wash all along the page here. And we will slowly start to build our color for our night sky. Okay, so we will start with some Antwerp Blue, and I want to paint the sky to have a little bit of variegation, but we're going to start with our lighter color first out of the night sky, and that's going to be this Antwerp Blue. I'm just going to do a nice base color of this nice rich vibrant blue. And I'll just do a secondary layer as well. Okay, and then from here, I want to mix in some purple. I just want a nice pop of purple. I thought that'd be nice to have kind of that variegation. And with that, I'm just going to add a few pops of irregular brush strokes. They're kind of just loose and rounded. And this is just gonna create kind of a variegated galaxy sky. So I want some of that Antwerp blue to definitely be popping through, but I want some blots of the purple to really shine. From there, I'm gonna layer on some Payne's Gray next, which is a nice, rich, dark navy. So I'm gonna do the same kind of technique with that, just kind of blotting it irregularly throughout. Allowing some of the other colors to also pop through. And then lastly, I want to apply some black as our darkest contrast. And I'm just going to blot in a few elements of our black. And keeping in mind, we will have some trees or some branches over here as well. So I don't want to go so heavy on the black that our branches won't pop through. So I'm going to go ahead and allow this sky to just set and dry. And when we come back, we can peel off our washi tape and move on to the next stage. Now that our sky is dry, I'm gonna just use a rubber eraser to slowly kind of start to rub off our masking fluid. And then once you rub a good amount, you can start to peel the masking fluid off. Okay, so just to kind of smooth out this edge, I'll just take a little bit of Antwerp Blue and just go alongside this edge just to make sure it's nice and smooth. And then I'll just take a little bit of a slightly damp brush and just kind of buff out that water line so it's a little bit less prominent. Okay, so now we can fill our moon with some water. I'm just gonna take some water to rub out that little speck of blue, not a big deal. Then from here, I want to take some Naples Yellow, and I just want to apply a little bit of yellow to our moon. Then from here, I want to start to use some Davy's Gray, which is a really nice muted gray color. And while our moon is still wet, I am just going to apply some of the Davies gray, and I'm just starting out lightly, allowing it to kind of softly bleed out. I'm just kind of blotting it in this lower left area first. And it may take a couple of layers. Then from here, I'm going to do kind of a larger circle. And then I'll do a little bit more on the right. And then some up top as well. Just some irregular blotting. Do just a little bit more on this left edge. And I'm going to incorporate the tiniest amount of watered down black. So just starting off really small, just to give some of the craters a little bit more texture. I'm doing this while the moon is still slightly wet. Especially alongside this left edge, just to give a little bit more shadow. Then from here, I'm going to mix up a little bit of Davies gray with some of the yellow, the Naples yellow. And with that, I just want to get a little bit more variegated texture with our moon. I'm just going to use this color just to kind of blot some texture in here. Mainly around the outer edge and a little bit inside as well. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of a damp brush and just kind of soften some of that texture. Okay, so we have our moon, and now I want to add some black tree silhouettes. So to get that, I'm first going to take my size 16 brush, and I just want to do a little bit of really just loose foliage, and I'm going to start with maybe just a couple of pine trees off towards the left, and I'm using the tip of my brush just to do some of the trunk. And then from here, I'm just going to add some really chunky, loose brush strokes on either side, making the top more narrow, and then the brush strokes as it goes down more wide and chunky, kind of following a cone shape loosely, with some of the sky popping through the foliage. So there's one of our loose pine trees. And again, if you just mimic kind of a cone shape where the top is nice and pointed, and then you just kind of add these really loose brush strokes on either side and allow them to get larger and wider as you work your way towards the bottom, you'll get just a nice loose pine tree. Okay, so I like that we still have some of the sky popping through as well, so that's not taken over too much. And then from here, I want to add some branches. And so I'm going to switch gears from my size 16 brush to my size 6 brush for now. We may use our size 2 brush as well in a moment, but I want to start to paint a few kind of spooky, more like oak tree style branches that are a little bit more curvy. So I'm going to start by doing an angled line, just like so. That's going to be a branch, and I'm going to extend it and elongate it more across, just like that. And again, we're using a very concentrated amount of black, so that way it really pops against the night sky. From here, I want to start to add more branches. So I'm going to do another branch stemming off of the end here, just like so. Maybe I'll do a jagged, more jagged style branch here, just extending that. I'm going to do another branch just connecting there down below. And I'm just kind of building off of these angled lines. From here, I'll just add a few smaller branches. And I'm basically painting the letter Y at different angles, just to make it a little bit more whimsical. And here you can just get creative with the different angles of the branches here. And then I'm gonna add another branch, but this time this one is gonna slightly overlap towards the moon. Before I do, I think I'll add just one more branch. Why not? Just on this little area. Okay, I like that. I like where it's headed. So now I'm gonna do another branch stemming from this right side of the page. And this time, this branch is going to slightly overlap on the moon. Okay, from this point, I wanna switch gears to our size 2 brush to get some finer brush work going. And with the size 2 brush, I'm gonna get just a few more daintier little branches. And so while this sets a little bit more, I'm just gonna take my size 2 brush to just get a few really dainty small branches coming from the larger, thicker strokes we got with the size 16 brush. So I'm just extending from some of these larger branches, and some of them can kind of overlap onto some. And again, you could just get very creative with this. The more angular and irregular the branches, the better. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add a couple small branches off of here. Alrighty, now we get to paint a bird silhouette. And I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of zoom in on this detail. Alrighty, so now you can get a closer look. So for our bird silhouette, I'm gonna start with a rounded oval shape, just like so. From there, I'm gonna do kind of a rounded rectangle shape, so it's a little bit smaller than the initial body. You could see it kind of is a rectangle shape, and the bottom is a little bit wider at the base than it is at the top. And then to mimic the little bird claw or its little foot, I'm just gonna do a little dash line that's slightly angled. And then from here, for the head, I'm going to do kind of a curved line, just a rainbow curve going towards the right. And then I'm going to meet that curve just like so. And from there, I want to add its beak. So the beak will be just a nice elongated point using really light pressure with the size 2 brush. And before I move on, I want to just widen the shoulders, if you will, on either side, just at the base of the neck. So I'm just going to widen the top of that initial oval shape, just like so. And then from here, I simply just want to paint the inside of this silhouette shape. And there we have our crow-shaped silhouette. Okay, now getting a second look, I actually want to widen the right side just a bit more. There we go. I feel better about that. Okay, it's always good to take a step back and just look at how everything is panning out before moving on. And now I'm gonna use some white gouache to place our stars. And for this, I just use really, really light pressure with my size 2 brush to get these nice dainty little dots. So I'm just gonna add some water to my white gouache. And then from here, I want to just add little irregular dots throughout our night sky. And don't be afraid to add a few popping between the branches. And again, using really light pressure with the brush so you could get those nice dainty stars. And I'm placing them pretty irregularly so that way they don't look like polka dots. Thank you so much for joining me today for this watercolor landscape tutorial, perfect for the fall spooky season. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any further landscape tutorials.